Go ahead and get started. Some opening comments from Coach.
All right, thanks, Brian. Sorry to make you waiting. I made a lot of recruits in today, so I had to say goodbye. They want to get out before the weather gets better or worse or whatever it's doing outside. Obviously proud of our guys, and I thought they really responded today. Defensively in that first half, that's some of the best we played in that end of the floor this year. And they obviously we were able to turn some defense into offense. They told me it was a 26-5 run at one point. And when you can do that and get some confidence and energy going, it was good. Obviously with the 2000 team back, it was good to wear those uniforms. Guys really liked them. May try to wear them again. I don't know if we can do that, but like I said, just proud of all the way up and down the lineup, the guys that played. Everybody did something positive to help us out. Questions?
Jeff, Greg, you tweaked your lineup, so that kind of changed your rotations a bit, but your bench ended up contributing, I think, 30 points. Guys like Anderson and Pritzl, what was the key for them today in contributing in whatever way they did in your eyes?
Well, I think Trevor helped. He got to the basket, got a couple free throws there. Brevin, that was really comfortable offensively. But I think the biggest thing across the board defensively, we were better than we were, 3-4 nights ago. So we were more aggressive at the point of attack, and that helped, and fed off some of the things we did defensively to get some confidence going offensively.
Jim.
What did you think of Aleem today, specifically on the glass?
Good. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Thought he was active. Big rebound there late. He got fouled on it. Got to the free throw line. So he contributed a lot of good, positive things.
Tom.
Why do the players want to wear those uniforms again?
They like how they look. I mean, they like their sharp. Yeah, they like it, and absolutely they feel really good. I asked him a couple days ago. I said, hey, typically when we go into a season or have new uniforms, we always wear them in practice just so they can get a feel, so they're tugging at them or looking at themselves in the mirror, how good they look in the uniform. So I said, hey, do you want to wear them in practice? And they said no, we'd already tried them on. They felt just like the other ones, the regular ones we wear. So I said, okay, it's your call. But no, I thought they looked sharp. The design people did a good job with them, and always helps when you play well in them.
Did it mean much to have those guys here? And,
It was awesome. Yeah.
And for you, with Dick, and
Yeah.
Dick being a mentor.
Yeah, it was great because they were all at practice, or most of them. Trevon Davis wasn't. His kid was playing in a high school game yesterday, so I just got a chance to spend some time with him. But there was a large portion of them that were back yesterday and were at practice. Coach Bennett, we got a chance to spend some time with him in my office before practice, and then obviously popped by their reception they had last night. But it was good. It was neat to watch them all interact as we practiced on the Cole Center floor there up in the stands, and they didn't pay attention to practice. I kept looking up, and they always had their backs were to the court, and they were talking to the people behind them and reminiscing and catching up. And like most teams, when the further you get from that time period when you played, the stories grow. So I'm sure there was some tale telling that went on yesterday and last night. But I heard the halftime thing was great. I didn't see it obviously, but it's special to be able to have those guys back and have those people, and they realize how, like I've told my guys, the further you get from that last one, you're going to reminisce and enjoy the people that you're on that journey with, and it's very evident with that 2000 team.
Jim.
How do you explain the disparity, home versus away, this season? I know you've been asked that before, but it's just, you look so much different here than most other places.
Probably so does most teams in the Big Ten. So I don't know if we could find the answer and bottle that, sell it. We have a lot of coaches lined up to purchase it. I mean, you think about it, you should be better at home. You practice more at home. You sleep in your own bed. You eat the training table in the same place. You dress in your own locker room. I mean, I guess I've never realized why that would be a question, because you're more comfortable at home.
Coach, back.
Coach, Aleem mentioned how you got on him to be better at the point of attack on defense, like you mentioned. how important was it to see them respond in that fashion? And then it also translated to the offensive side of the ball too.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can, I don't know what our deflection total was, but I know it was pretty high. But yeah, being more aggressive and having that mindset, I thought we were in a much different mindset in terms of aggressiveness than what we were in our previous game, and that was good to see that they responded.
Jeff?
Greg, Troyce led you with like 8 assists tonight, but I think we're 7 guys had at least one. A 2-part question: how well is he doing taking care of the ball and running things recently? And how good is the ball movement overall?
Yeah, I mean, you have 17 assists and 24 baskets, you're moving it pretty well. And when you get, especially in that run in the first half, we had a lot of ball changing sides of the floor quickly. It popped, and we had open threes. But I thought Dimitri is really starting to evolve into a point guard. I mean, his numbers have been consistently very good. You know, we've got to work on some things, you know, as we're icing games away and shot clock situations, but that's for me to help him get better at and see things a little bit better. But like I said, he's really becoming a very consistent, solid contributor and good leader at the point guard position.
Over the right?
Coach, you mentioned the high deflection rate and a lot of turnovers forced on defense. There was also a lot of blocks and steals. What made him seem, it just seemed like there was extra juice. Were there any adjustments, or do you think it was just maybe motivation, looking to respond?
It's competition. I mean, they want to play well. They want to try to be successful in this game. So, and like I said, that group working together, helping each other out, rotating, all the things defensively they did, covering up for each other. It was good to see them play that well together.
Coach, when you look at a guy like Brevin, how has his role evolved over the last couple of years, and how he's just been able to adapt to each role, whether it's coming off the bench, etc.?
Yeah, I think one thing with regardless of their age, because it doesn't matter. I've watched freshmen struggle up and down with confidence. I've watched seniors struggle up and down. But you have to, and it's hard for a coach to give that to them. They have to find it themselves in terms of your confidence consistently. But I think he's, you know, at his own pace and in his own journey has become more comfortable in terms of how he can, you know, not worry about missing a shot. You know, 2 years ago, he goes 0 for 12 in a game, and it bothered him for like 5 days afterwards. Now, he's running by me going, I'm gonna splash the next one. You know, I got the next one, and wants those opportunities, like telling me what to, you know, he's calling his own number in those huddles. Run this, but no, it's good. He has a very good sense for movement without the ball, how to take advantage of things. It's always good to have a player on the floor that can get a feel for that in the action that maybe you don't necessarily see from the bench at times.
Gennaro, over the right?
Greg, if you look at these last 2 home games overall now, what do you like most about how your players have responded to some tough situations?
Well, I think they've just, you deal with the day at hand, and whether you win or lose a game, you learn from it and you move on, much like life. So we learned from what we didn't do well in Minnesota. We were faced with some of the same challenges today in terms of what Ohio State was going to present, and we were better. We played better for longer stretches of time. So I think the one thing is, you know, they're resilient and they learn, and they're always ready for the next challenge. So that's what makes them so fun to coach and fun to be around.
Zach?
Greg, you went with Micah in the starting lineup today. What went into that, and is that something that maybe you'll keep going with, or is it just going to be matchup based?
It was matchup based in large part because Ohio State didn't have Kyle Young the last time we had played him. He was out with his appendicitis, so they were smaller or more of a 4-guard lineup with Andre Wesson at the 4. So this time, having them change their lineup, and then what I've seen from Micah and how he's become more comfortable, I thought it was a good time to, you know, throw him in the starting lineup from a matchup standpoint. It was able to match Young and Kyle or Caleb Wesson.
Over the left?
Great. Every Big Ten team has at least a 2-game losing streak this year in league play. Some teams pick themselves out of it, some teams don't. You touched on this a little bit, but the challenge this year of dusting yourselves off the mat, how hard is that in the league this season? What makes this year different than other years to try to find your way out of a tough stretch?
Well, I think you just look at the depth of the league. I mean, you've got 14 teams, and I know Northwestern and Nebraska have had a harder time, maybe get some traction going, but there's no, you can't come up for air. I mean, you can't, there's no get well games. I mean, we're gonna have our hands full next Saturday night at Nebraska, so I think just the depth has never been like this. I don't know, the bracketologists and all that thing, we're a long ways from that yet, but it's just really, really competitive, and there's no easy night. And I think as long as you don't get consumed in that, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. If things don't go well, we got to turn the page and we got another really good opponent coming again. And you have to keep that mindset as you walk through the season of just really, it's cliche that you go one day at a time, but you try it any other way, I think you're setting yourself up for a massive failure.
Ben?
Greg, Micah said earlier this week that he felt in the last 2 weeks he's taken steps forward defensively. Where have you seen his defensive prowess kind of grow since you kind of challenged him against, I think, the Nebraska game?
Well, he's more consistent in terms of positioning. I think he understands. It's one thing to watch it on video or do it in practice, but when you're in the heat of the battle in a game and you have to make split-second decisions and they have to become instinctual, that's harder. And I think he's becoming more comfortable with that. And I thought he did a decent job today. I'm sure I'll find some things on film that we can improve upon, but I think just the experience, and you've seen a lot of big guys come through this program that there's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of error at some point in time, and you just learn through repetition and being in those positions, and eventually you get better and improve, and he's definitely done that.
Anything else, Coach? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Terry.